All right. So Keemstar. I'm gonna throw up. First of all, I just noticed this. This isn't about the video, but I just noticed this. Just recorded mom's basement with whatever, some guy. Who is this guy? Another bad person, I'm assuming. I can only assume because Keemstar's a bad person. We talked about the H3 subreddit attempting to destroy evidence that proved Trisha Paytas was telling the truth. So here's the problem. First of all, that doesn't exist. There is mountains of evidence against Trisha. We're going to do what we always do, and we're going to shout out Mysterious T. I didn't spell mysterious right because I'm dumb, I don't think. Mountain. That's the first thing, right? Now, I'm sure Keemstar hasn't watched it because Keemstar probably doesn't even watch his own daughter because he's an irresponsible prick. Sorry, I'm just I'm in attack mode right now. Anyway, also he said attempted, which means that the evidence would still be there. I mean, you can't even speak correctly. Just how stupid you are. So by your logic, the evidence is there because they only attempted it. So where is it, Keemstar? And you have no problem going through and posting all this nonsense here. Right? Where's your with the Trisha shit? Where you're like, oh, look at the subreddit. I can't. I mean, it's here. I'm just really old and I skim past things. You had no problem making that video about Trisha Paytas, like the Reddit having all this information about how they're trying to take down Trisha Paytas' platform. You have no problem finding a picture of a subreddit there, but you don't have the picture of the information that proves her innocence. Like, it doesn't really make any conceivable sense to me. I like have to find this message. All right, we'll just go to Trisha Paytas. This is ridiculous. Jesus Christ! It's like I'm fucking like cursed here. I'm cursed. I cursed to just here it is right here. This is what I was looking for. You have this Keemstar. You found this, but you couldn't find the attempted. You couldn't find the information that supposedly by your logic exists. Ridiculous. Anyway, now that we cleared that up. So there's a lot of shit going on here. Apparently, I don't know who Basher is. Apparently he passed away, rest in peace. And here's Keemstar in a very professional outfit talking about how Ethan Klein weaponized Basher's death. Now, I don't know the specifics. Obviously I like Ethan more, but I like to believe that I'm pretty impartial. I like to believe that I am usually a pretty reasonable guy. So let's go through this. We're gonna do this, and then I'm gonna educate myself on this because this is a documentary saying the Bashurverse conspiracy full documentary. Apparently, Keemstar played a significant role in the deplatforming of this guy. There's also allegations that he assaulted somebody. I don't really know the specifics. I have to educate myself on it. But first, let's watch this Keemstar video.
Last night Basher passed away from COVID. His battle with COVID, and he was a very controversial figure. A lot of people we're saying a lot of mean stuff about Basher. And, I put out a tweet saying, hey, let's be respectful. His family and friends are grieving right now. Wait at least a week before you put out your opinions on Basher.
What I find so funny, though, is like Keemstar is telling us to be respectful. You're a disrespectful person and a rape apologist. So, like, what moral authority do you even have to say these things? Like, yeah, guys, be kind to each other. This person just passed away. You probably shouldn't bash this person. But also, who the fuck are you to say that?
It's the respectful thing to do. And of course, you got Ethan Klein once again using another YouTuber's death, weaponizing it as a way to attack me. Somebody put out this tweet. Last night, Basher passed away. And of course, you got Ethan Klein once again using another YouTuber's death, weaponizing it as a way to attack me.
Well,
somebody put out this tweet where they were basically saying that, I was a piece of shit because my Drama Alert news team, they run the Instagram, they reported Basher's death and they used a screenshot.
You notice how, do you notice how he's never responsible for any of the potential wrongdoing in his life? Do you keep that? Do you guys realize that it's like, oh, it was somebody else's fault for a thing that we did wrong that happened? So there's a Drama Alert page
as a way to attack me. somebody put out this tweet where they were basically saying that, you know, I was a piece of shit because my Drama Alert news team, they run the Instagram, they reported Bashur's death and they used a screenshot of his most famous moment of him in the Power Ranger suit, and they said that it was disrespectful and that I ruined his life and all this other shit. And you got fucking Ethan Klein retweeting that tweet and then saying some.
Well, yeah, this is apparently when he had a meltdown. I don't know enough about it, but if your whole argument is like, hey, be nice to this guy and don't like try to assassinate his character, it seems weird that you would put that in there. Again, I don't know enough, so I'm just making that commentary now.
Just weaponizing another YouTuber's death as a way to attack me. So of course I have to defend myself because I didn't ruin Bashur's life. You know, Bashur was literally arrested for inappropriate stuff with underage people. Literally arrested. Like, we got the mugshots, we got the arrest report. He started dating Clara Baby Legs when she was underage. That's actual.
How old is Bashur?
Fact, there were multiple women that came forward when they were 16, 15, whatever, that, you know, Bashur reached out to them and was hitting on them. These are facts. Like, this is all proven stuff.
I mean, if that's true, then who cares about this guy? I must be missing something. Or maybe people... Oh, yeah, he's 36 now. Okay. The dude was 18 and the girl was 15. Oh, okay. Well, wait, was that real? Are you being serious? He was 18 and she was 15? Like, it's a little gross. I would say inappropriate. That's inappropriate for sure. I agree with that. But, like, to the point where he's a predator, we have to see more. The alleged girls were never confirmed. Okay, we'll have to watch this
himself thing. Admitted to. Like, this isn't up for grabs. Like, this isn't, like, an opinion. These are facts, all right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, did Keemstar ruin Bashur's life? No, I held him accountable. And it's so wild when you think about it. It's like, you know, did fucking H3H3 ruin James Charles' life? No, this is literally insanity. The fact that this dude has no actual core morals or beliefs and just weaponizes different things to attack different YouTubers. H3H3, go fuck yourself. And, you know, Bashur, rest in peace. But that's a whole fucking, yeah.
So, I mean, Keemstar, we generally don't give Keemstar the benefit of the doubt because he's Keemstar, but if what he's saying is true and this guy is a scumbag, then we don't care. One count of assault? What kind of assault, though? Like, he hit somebody or he assaulted a person? Those are two different things. Okay, let's see. He made a video addressing and explaining his criminal felony for an unlawful transaction with a minor. What does that mean? That's pretty gross. Is there a video of that? Alright, let's watch this. Let's watch the documentary. Let's see what we got here.
I never said it was the victim! I never f***ing once said it was the victim! And I'm sick and tired of being called a f***ing rapist! I'm tired of it all! I'm sure
well, that was intense.
many of you have already seen the now infamous freakout of Bashurverse. While it's hard to deny on a surface level how much of a spectacle it is to see a man fall apart on camera even half a decade later, most don't have much more than a surface level understanding of what caused that explosion, and the bizarre events that followed. This is a story of betrayal, exploitation, lies, sexual harassment, doxing, hackers, and death threats, with a man in the center of it all who was completely unequipped emotionally to handle the pressure. Even all these years later,
I don't really care about that. Did he actually do this with a girl? Let me see.
It's hard to understand the context of that video, but after hundreds of hours of research, today I will try my best. This is the Bashurverse conspiracy.
Okay, so he was 18, she was 15. So where did the assault come from?
Wow, what a great day to be.
So, I'm just reading this here. Her parents didn't approve of the relationship, rightfully so. So much that they had held a private investigator, hired a private investigator to keep an eye on the two in case anything went south. The couple would talk online through gaming and stuff. Asher was woken up one day on the knock on the door. He was introduced to the private investigator, then arrested the chat for the chat history with a 15-year-old girl. He was legally charged with a first-degree felony for unlawful transaction with a minor under 16. Asher was apprehended. His computers were confiscated, and he sent to therapist class for pedophiles. He was later released from mandatory therapy for a therapeutic class. Asher stated that he didn't leave the house for nearly 10 years after the event. Interesting. So, if this is... Okay. What sounds like, and we're going to have to get more context, what it sounds like is that this guy, at 18 years old, dated a 15-year-old, and they probably sexted with each other, and he showed his like genitals, and she probably sent stuff back, which is like illegal, most likely, in their area. So that makes sense, right? And I actually am fine with him getting arrested for that because it's gross. But from a moral perspective, as I think it's gross for an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old to engage. I don't think that you should be. Listen. My opinion on ages. I don't think that anybody. I think a 16-year-old shouldn't date anybody over 18. 16 and 18 is fine. I don't think anybody should sleep together before that. But 17 and maybe 20 is okay. Kind of uncomfortable, but okay. We generally have like laws though that exist that will protect like a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old, a 4-year age gap. So it brings us this conversation of like, okay, we can look at the action and we can look at the intent. Obviously, if a 30-year-old sleeps with a 13-year-old, their action is disgusting and their intent is very predatory. However, if you have an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old doing this, you would say the action is disgusting, but the intent isn't generally disgusting. Because you wouldn't, normally an 18-year-old wouldn't perceive a 15-year-old as being like too young for them, even if I do think so. And we are definitely evolving. This was in 2014, it looks like. So we are obviously, the social narrative is evolving to protect young people more and more, but we're not there yet. And I think that we need to keep that in mind. So I would say what this guy did was gross. I wouldn't call him a predator. I think that he it is gross though, and he needs to never do it again. That's what I would, that's my take on what this is. I'm going to look more into this to see if there's more context, because I don't want to just find articles that like support the narrative that Basher is innocent. But it just seems like, what I would say is that this isn't somebody that can't move on. This was, I think, like a really bad mistake that they can move on from.
Picking flowers. Oh, speaking of, you're mine, little buddy.
If that's actually him, though, he should get arrested because this is so cringy.
Let's see if we can't find any of your family members. Oh man, I just can't get enough picking flowers. They said that I'd be a great flower picker when I grew up.
I will say though that voice is generally synonymous with people who talk to like underage people. I'm just saying, like, you guys notice there's like those voices of like, oh guys, like it's weird.
It was 2015, an era in which easily excited Minecraft Let's Players reigned supreme on YouTube, while drama channels begin to make their way to the center of the internet landscape. Among the rising stars.
When was this? 2014? How old was he?
Stars of the Minecrafter genre was a man by the name of Brandon Asher, or as he was known by his fans, Bashurverse. A lover of video games from a young age, Brandon found success online with a series titled The Legend of Hobo. This was a scripted show that took place entirely in Minecraft, making it very popular with kids and quickly racking up millions of views. This caught the eye of other famous Minecraft YouTubers at the time, such as Sky Does Minecraft and Captain Sparkles, who wanted to play with him. In the blink of an eye, he went from a random guy playing games in his room to hanging out with some of the most popular stars on the World Wide Web. As if things couldn't get any better for Brandon, he also met a fan on his Twitter by the name of Clara Swan, known online as Clara Babylegs. The two quickly hit it off and began dating, with Basher even flying Clara out from her state of Tennessee to live with him in his Seattle home, as it became clear this relationship had become more than just a passing fling. Whether intentional or not, these two were quickly becoming a power couple in the online world.
So she's 25 now? And how old is Bashurverse? He's 36. He's 11 years older than this girl. That's a little weird. When did they start hanging out together?
To live with him in his Seattle. It also met a fan on his Twitter.
When did this start happening?
By the name of Clara Swan, known online as Clara Babylegs. The two quickly hit it off and began dating, with Basher even flying Clara out from her state of Tennessee to live with him in his Seattle home, as it became clear this relationship had become more than just a passing fling.
When she was 6, thank you for the
Intentional or not, these two were quickly becoming a power couple in the online world, as her follower numbers began to grow. With their continued success, Brandon and Clara moved to California to join a YouTube house called BAM Lounge, a collaborative project involving several creators such as Birdgasm, Aviator Gaming, and Jobless Garrett, living in one big house making comedy videos. The type of content on this channel usually ranged from pranks, vlogs, and sketches, with the personalities involved becoming so popular that they were even in talks behind the scenes about starting a full-fledged BAM Lounge reality show on traditional television. With a loving girlfriend, supportive roommates, successful business associates, and a growing fan base, Basher was on the top of the world, and it seemed like nothing could bring him down. Unfortunately, a storm was on the horizon, the likes of which had never been seen in the history of YouTube. Daniel Keem, otherwise known as DJ Killer Keemstar, has always been a polarizing figure on YouTube, racking up a total of 5 channels that have been terminated over his time on the site. He rose to prominence trolling players on Xbox Live in the mid-2000s, before—
You know, I don't even know Keemstar's past, I just know he's a scumbag. So this is interesting. So he started as a troll that would say the N-word to black people online? Like, wow. I honestly wouldn't have guessed. I didn't know that.
Finally settling down with his show Drama Alert, where he reports on various mistakes, feuds, or mere interactions of internet celebrities. Keem has
He sensationalizes them as well. Keep that in mind.
certainly made his fair share of enemies over the years due to his abrasive personality. Yet that's why people tune in. Back in 2015, he could be particularly ruthless, and when he received an anonymous tip about Brandon Asher, his sights became laser focused on the growing Let's
So 2015 was 2021, so that's like 6 years ago. So this guy was 30.
This all began when the Drama Alert team received a message from an anonymous source, accusing Basher of committing some heinous crimes in the early 2000s that came up during a background check done on Brandon when he joined the BAM Lounge.
Okay.
Jumping on the rumor, Keem quickly reached out to Brandon for comments. He denied everything, which stopped the allegations from going public at first, but after it became clear that these claims weren't
Well, that's probably not a good thing to deny everything.
going anywhere, he decided to make a video of his own to
I do find it ironic, though, that like Keemstar would effectively virtue signal about an 18 to 15-year-old being together, and then still like as a 39-year-old go out with a 20-year-old. Like, I understand it's legal, but like you think that 3 years would be morally reprehensible. I think it's gross, but I think it's the intent. I don't think was ever predatory. So you think that like 3 years is really bad? Same thing with Carson. You think 2 years is bad, 19, 17, but like you're willing to engage with somebody that's not even anywhere near your level of, well, you would assume maturity, even though you're an immature fuck.
to get out in front of the story. As his story goes, Brandon was born to an absent father and emotionally abusive mother who didn't have much of an interest in raising him, leaving Brandon home alone many times when he was just still a baby. He claimed not to remember much of his abuse though, because at a very young age, a foster couple gained custody. After that, the quality of his life picked up significantly as he was now being raised in a loving and caring environment. The fondness with which he told these stories about his adoptive parents made his childhood seem pretty ideal. The trouble started when he entered high school. Brandon stated that throughout elementary and middle school, he was a fairly average student, passing by with a decent enough grade. But in high school, he suddenly lost all motivation to keep trying. His grades began to plummet, and as a result, he was placed in what he called an educational development center.
This is a school that the undesirables got pushed to. People they didn't want in the school, and they just sit us in there and make us do crossword puzzles all day. This is high school.
Brandon also claimed to have been a constant target of bullying from his fellow
What are these fucking pictures? Is this what this guy does? Is he draws? These pictures are so weird.
students. All this changed though when he met a girl when he was 17, and quickly fell head over heels in love with her. After being alone for so long, it's clear that finding happiness with a woman meant a great deal to him emotionally.
I don't like the framing of this because I think it gives him too much of the benefit of the doubt. Like, we understand, like, okay, he had a rough childhood and then he engaged with it in a relationship. That's probably, I mean, I would say is generally inappropriate, though this was very many years ago where things are a little bit different. We have to understand that socially we weren't at the same spot. But this idea of like being like, well, he was in a really bad spot. He was like emotionally stunted in some capacity. So like he deserved this. Is like, okay, I think that's giving him too much of the benefit of the doubt here.
It's no wonder then that he was absolutely crushed when he learned that she had cheated on him.
My whole world got turned upside down.
Oh, is this a
It was
different girl
literally
that's
the
not
worst
6 feet 15?
thing I've ever
All right, maybe.
experienced up to that point.
Around this point, he also began talking to the younger sister of one of his friends, who he claims
Alright.
was around 14 years old at the time.
That's
He
weird.
claimed that she served as a shoulder to cry on.
That's also
She
weird.
actually talked to me a lot about it and consoled me. We started talking online and we had feelings for each other, and her parents had started kind of getting like the vibe that we had a thing going on. We
Yeah.
would get pretty intimate. But one day when I woke up, there was a knock on my door and there was a guy and he introduced himself as a private investigator. They ended up arresting me and they put me in jail.
When he
I don't blame the parents at all. To be absolutely honest with you, I talk all the time about how like parents are a big part of the factor when it comes to these things. Like if I had, let's just do 16 and 20. If I had a 16-year-old daughter that was dating a 20-year-old man, no, they wouldn't. If I had a 20-year-old daughter dating a 16-year-old boy, no, they wouldn't. You understand what I'm saying? I don't blame the parents whatsoever for what they did. I don't. Maybe the punishment might have been a little extreme because I don't think that he's a pedophile for the relationship, but it was definitely inappropriate and he deserved some punishment. But I don't blame the parents at all.
finally had his day in court, he was charged with a Class A misdemeanor for an unlawful transaction with a minor. As punishment, he would attend court-mandated therapy and would be stripped of all his computers.
And my lawyer was like, you were so freaking lucky because you could have gone to prison and stuff like that. I'm like, for that? What the? Why? Like, it's insane how apparently lucky I was that they didn't just send me to prison.
Perhaps out of some feeling of shame or embarrassment, Brandon and his family ended up moving to a different state after the sentencing.
And for years and years and years, I just sat there doing nothing but wasting away, and I felt like I was going crazy. I'd wake up, I'd go into my computer room.
I feel like this is a little too victim-y. What's interesting to me here, though, is that like he didn't think like, okay, that was an inappropriate relationship. I fucked up and I shouldn't have done it. Like it's quite the appropriate response, in my opinion, would be to like, okay, I did something, I didn't realize it was wrong, and I fucked up, and I deserve the crime, or I deserve to be punished. Maybe even if you don't think you deserve to be as punished, that would have been fine. But he seems to have not learned his lesson, which I think is a problem, right? Is that not like, oh, I don't even understand why this? Like, what do you do, dude? You come on, you're 18 talking to a 15-year-old. It's a little fucking weird, dog. You know.
I'd sit down, I'd load up Star Wars Galaxies or World of Warcraft, and I'd just play until I felt like I was going to pass out.
At a certain point, Bashir decided to pick himself up and try to branch out with his life, which is when he began making...
What's interesting, though, is where was this? It's interesting that would be considered, like, predatory, because we usually in America... Is this not in America? Because in America, like, that would be generally protected. I'm assuming, though, it's the online aspect rather than the in-person. Like, it's very bizarre that we do have laws that are like, oh, if an 18 and a 14-year-old sleep together, that's okay, but if they send if they send, you know, inappropriate images to each other, that's not. Like legally, you should just make them both either okay or not okay. Probably not okay. I mean, honestly, not okay. An 18-year-old shouldn't be living with anybody younger than 16. But you get my point. Why is the more intense action legal, but the less intense action is not illegal? It would make more sense to be like logically consistent. But I guess maybe I'm just not educated on the laws of wherever they are here.
His Legend of Hobo videos, and his career began taking off. Brandon ended his video talking about how he feared the rumors around the story would ruin his career, and he wanted to tell his truth to the world. His fans all rallied behind him after this, supporting him due to the apparent rawness of his confession. But not everyone was so swayed by his tale. A few hours after Bashir posted this video, Keemstar uploaded a response titled, "Opinion on the Bashir Situation." Keem expressed his frustration with the amount of support Brandon was receiving for his confession, feeling that the video came across as very manipulative. He cited Bashir's constant shaking and crying throughout the story as,
I don't think it's manipulative. I think this guy actually feels that way. That's the vibe that I've been getting as I watch it. Keemstar's dumb, so, you know, I spelled the word confession so wrong. Oh, this is a long... It's a 46-minute confession. I don't know. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. Maybe that's my irresponsibility. That's very long. I don't get that vibe, but that's very long. But I guess he's telling a whole story.
As well as recounting his whole tragic life story as his reason for it coming across as insincere. Keem's biggest gripe was that the video seemed to be spinning a narrative that Bashir was a victim, whereas he thought it would have been better if he made a simple, flat-out apology.
I mean, I actually agree with Keemstar on that. I was actually just... What was I just saying? I was just saying that. I actually agree with Keemstar.
Keem, along with thousands of others, believed that Brandon wasn't being 100% truthful about the details throughout his confession either. In his statements, there were some glaring contradictions, such as why in the original rumor he was said to have raped a 13-year-old girl twice, but in this story the girl was around 14 or 15, and they merely talked in a sexual manner on the computer. On top of
that's what he got arrested for, right? So...
Bashir released an article from his local newspaper which listed him as 20 years of age when he was sentenced, which didn't make sense when compared to his earlier statement that he was 18 at the time.
Yeah, so
to make matters even more confusing, online records show that he was arrested at 19. Keemstar stated that his biggest concern in all of this was the average age of Bashir's fanbase. Due to his popularity...
Wait, so far there's so many inconsistencies. Why would we generally expect Keemstar not to go off that way?
In the Minecraft sphere, his fans tended to be either children or preteens. Keem felt that Brandon, given his alleged history, may try to leverage his young...
So what's the story here? So why were there so many inconsistencies? Do we get to know that? Because that validates Keemstar's argument here.
...audience into potentially dangerous situations. At this point, Keem also brought up the eyebrow-raising point that Bashir's girlfriend Clara was only 17 years of age at the time they met, whereas he was in his late 20s.
That's fucking weird also. Yeah, okay.
Had he not learned anything from talking to underage girls, many wondered? At this point, when anyone...
I would say no, because the narrative that he was trying to push definitely seemed to suggest that he's like, I don't even understand what I did was wrong. So...
would question his official story not adding up or joked about the rumors, Bashir's oversensitivity was made clear as he would often have breakdowns at the slightest mention of his name in a negative light. Keemstar noted this and would seemingly prod Brandon for a response on both Twitter and Drama Alert. During his annual April Fool's video, Keem made a joke at Bashir's expense, in which he photoshopped a fake tweet to make it look like he was confessing to the allegations. Brandon
What would we know that it was fake?
Brandon did not take this very well, going on an angry rant about it on Twitter and reaching out to his network Machinima to try to get the video taken down. On another occasion, Basher posted a tweet about how he was going to Disney World soon, to which Keem responded by warning parents to keep their kids away from the park. Basher again did not find this very comical, going as far as to publicly—
I mean, bro, you know, 18 to 15 is weird and questionable, but then like 28 and 17, I mean, that's... I don't know, dude.
Ask the police.
This guy definitely seems to have like a pattern of, I wouldn't say like horrendous, but I would say definitely like inappropriate relationships.
Get involved and arrest Keemstar. Keem made sure—
And this is from somebody that doesn't like Keemstar, me.
To mention that he was not the only target, as Brandon had reportedly threatened a lawsuit against any YouTuber who had previously known and talked about the rumor, such as his once good friend Skydoes Minecraft. During this time, Basher's mother had become the target of a—
I'm removing your number from my phone. This whole acting like a 10-year-old child being bullied thing is sad. Take care, Jisa.
severe amount of harassment, receiving constant—
Let me make this clear. If you falsely flag in my videos, I will destroy you. You much not know me well. Keemstar is such an edgy little fuck.
texts and phone calls about the crimes her son was accused of. Tracing back the origin of how this all started, Basher accused Keem of sending a tweet with her phone number. There was a screenshot allegedly proving that Keem retweeted the docs, but Keem claims that it is a fake and denies it ever happening.
I mean, like, if that's a dick move.
All these events were only samplings, though, of the now notorious freakout that was soon to come. The day after the Drama Alert video came out questioning Brandon's official narrative, a dogpiling of hate started to be sent his way. The once sympathetic comments quickly turned vitriolic as the math wasn't adding up on his explanations.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's not Keemstar's fault.
This is when a once contained controversy in the Minecraft sphere went viral. Instead of explaining the contradicting information to help people better understand the situation, Basher posted another video of his own, simply titled Goodbye. In this video, it's clear that he has reached the end of his rope both mentally and emotionally.
Well, so the way I would interpret this more than anything else is like, I don't want to give you accurate information. I would rather have a meltdown for sympathy. That's how I would interpret this so far based on the information that we're getting. And what's particularly interesting about this documentary is it is very, very, very it seems very biased towards this Bashurverse person and against Keemstar. So like, that's the information. If I'm siding with Keemstar on an anti-Keemstar video, Keemstar might be right.
I hate you all who are attacking me constantly. I just wanted to make a fucking YouTube channel. I just wanted that. I just wanted that
What's with the fucking Power Rangers suit? Like, I don't understand. Like, why?
so bad. I just wanted to make people happy and
I don't like that either. This is like, so dude, you fucked up and you won't own it, and now you're like, I just wanted to make people happy. That's not an appropriate response. If anything, that sounds to me like you're like, well, I make people happy, so it's okay I did a bad thing. You're not owning your shit.
I just wanted to leave. I just wanted to leave my fucking room, and I was in for years, and I finally did, and you fucking won't leave me alone. Ah! I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. So I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
It's kind of pathetic, no?
Shortly after uploading, he removed the video and clarified on Twitter that he wouldn't actually be quitting the internet. But at that point, the
Okay, so why make the video?
damage was already done. Some were sympathetic with Basher's plight, but many more now saw him as the freakout guy, with re-uploads of this video gaining millions upon millions of views from across the world. Among those whose attention was caught by this video was none other than Keemstar himself, whose initial reaction to it was recorded on a live stream. From many angles, this can be seen as the true beginning of the feud between Bashurverse and Keem.
Entertain people. I just wanted that. I just wanted that so bad. I just wanted to make people happy and I just wanted to leave.
Dude, like, okay, like, people might say that I pushed him too far, but I didn't. I didn't. He's just, this is more playing the victim. This is more like manipulation. That's all I see is manipulation. Like, all I wanted, and all I think anybody wanted, was this dude to just own up to what happened and move on.
The very
You know, I didn't know Keemstar back then, so I can't give you... if Keemstar was the same way he was back then than he is now, then like that would be a bullshit narrative, because Keemstar seems to be a very disingenuous piece of shit. However, Keemstar is coming off, and I could be wrong, as more genuine back here, and that is a reasonable perspective. Hey, I just wanted accurate information, and then we would have moved on, but there were a ton of inconsistencies. Okay, that's totally fair. But the problem, I think, this is one of the things, and this is an assumption I'm going to make. I'm going to assume that Keemstar, obviously, well, Keemstar was a troll. That's what he did. He got big for trolling people. And the problem is when you talk about delicate situations through the lens of a troll, like, you are reducing credibility of what you're saying, and you're being irresponsible. You know, when you talk about very serious allegations, I like to have fun on this channel too. And we make jokes, you know, and we make edgy jokes sometimes. But when we're covering a very serious story, we're not sitting here making jokes or framing this in the worst way possible. I try to do my best to maintain a level of professionalism, which I'm going to assume Keemstar didn't. So he might have had a good message without the professionalism required. And if this was how many years ago? Keemstar's 39 now. So if this was 10 years ago, Keemstar was still an adult that should be able to understand that.
The very next day, Keem posted another video directed at Bashur, reaching out to him and asking for an interview with all proceeds going to charity. To our knowledge, this request seems to have either been ignored or denied by Bashur. But because the story was so big, that didn't stop Drama Alert from reaching out to people around him. On April 10th, Keem interviewed another YouTuber in the Minecraft space by the name of Ashley.
And when you and Bashur were having this conversation, which we're about to get into, ladies and gentlemen, get your popcorn ready. How old were you at the time?
I was 17.
How old was Bashur?
28.
28-year-old man.
Yeah, definitely
17-year-old child. Guys, but right here, Bashur says, yes, you are. I get turned on every time I see you. You're sexy as hell.
Do that.
Now, what is he talking about?
According to her,
what is he talking about? Keemstar, great question. I know that he's asking for clarification, but Jesus.
He also allegedly screenshotted every single selfie she posted to her Snapchat story and sent her messages complimenting her appearance in them. Ashley provided screenshots of the chat logs, but the names were blacked out, so we can't say for certain if this was Bashur. This was only the beginning of the new allegations, though. At the same time, another YouTuber by the name of True Wind Waker uploaded a video on her own channel in which she made a similar accusation towards Bashur. A few months prior to this controversy, Brandon had posted a public link to his Snapchat on Twitter. Oh, being a fan of his, she quickly added him and said,
"Fucking Snapchat, dude. What do we keep saying about Snapchat, bro? Like, it's a platform that allows you to talk and it gets deleted. That shit is... the implications there are fucking too much."
Sent him a selfie. He then reportedly screenshotted it and asked for more, which she also provided evidence of.
How old
Later,
is she?
Wind Waker liked a tweet from Bashur,
Well, how old is Wind Waker? How old is Wind Waker?
Made a similar accusation towards Bashur. A few months prior to this controversy, Brandon had posted a public link to his Snapchat on Twitter. Being a fan of his, she quickly added him and sent him a selfie. He then reportedly screenshotted it and asked for more, which she also provided evidence of. Later, Wind Waker liked a tweet from Bashur, prompting him to follow her and immediately start messaging her on Twitter, asking if she was the same girl who had sent him the selfie. Just like with Ashley, Bashur's messages quickly became flirtatious, and he asked her if she would be willing to move their conversations to Skype.
How old
and
is
then
she?
I don't have.
This is like such relevant information that the fact that they're not saying it is pissing me off. Her age is so important to this entire situation. It needs to be known. How old is she?
Respond, but I'm sure I responded something like, "Really?" Like, because I was confused, and he said, "Do you have Skype? We can text better there." And then at that point, I was kind of like, I mean, yeah, I thought it was really cool because he had, I think he had 1 million subscribers then, and I really liked his videos. And I was like,
how old
whoa,
is she?
This guy that I've been watching, like, I really appreciate his videos. He's funny, all this stuff, and he wants to talk to me. I was like,
young, but
oh
I
my
need to know
gosh,
her fucking
whoa.
age. Jesus
And then
Christ.
he proceeded to start kind of like getting more sexual conversation went on, like including weird things. And I was just kind of like, I didn't say anything.
She tried on multiple occasions to steer the conversation away from inappropriate subjects, but he would quickly steer it right back.
Like, yeah, he's gross, but like, how old is she? It's so important. Why is this not in here? Because if she's like 19 at the time, it's weird and gross, but I don't care that much because we're talking about minors here. So what are we doing? You know,
after a while, he asked her age, to which she told him that she was 16.
There we go. Thank you. Jesus Christ, that's fucking disgusting. Thank God. Finally. And what is he, like 27 or 28? Disgusting.
In response, Bashur reportedly lied and said,
"Shh, don't tell me to chill. It's such important information that shouldn't be at the end of it. I'm sorry if I'm overreacting, but the first thing we should hear is the age of this person because it frames the context for the rest of everything." So when we look at okay. Let me explain to you why it frustrates me. so that I don't get like I just don't go off. Okay, so if you hear something in when you're given information, it's always important to have the full context. If you're told a bunch of things and then you're told their age, your response will generally be more tame than if you hear the age first. To me, this is, whether it's intentional or not, some kind of a priming of saying the age after all of the information, probably to try to have like a hot take. But to me, it doesn't give me the correct perspective to talk about what we just heard immediately, right? So if you're like, hey, you're 16, everything I hear after that, now I can go like, this is disgusting. They were only 16. What the fuck? But we heard it afterwards, so it bothers me. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, they're probably trying to lessen the age to make it a bombshell, but it kind of, it doesn't give you the correct perspective as you're watching it in context. I think that they should try to do their best to keep. That's why I get frustrated, because usually you would generally also, like, if you were going to make the video yourself, you would probably say the age first, then information. And so to me, I don't know, it's a withholding of information. I just feel it's just something that bothers me a little bit. So maybe I'm overreacting. That's why. That's it. I'm happy he finally gave the age. It's disgusting.
That he was only 21. Unfortunately, she no longer had the Skype messages, but she provided enough evidence that it was clear to most that she had spoken with Basher in some capacity.
So he started dating Clara Babylegs when she was a minor. We know that to be 100% true. And then also, he was flirting with underage girls online. And we know this because those girls came forward, and I interviewed them on Drama Alert, and they had...
Yeah, and he was, at the time, he was like 20 something, right? Like it's not like he was talking to 17-year-olds at like 21, which is still kind of gross, but like, okay, he's like 26, 27, 28, 29, right?
You know, screenshots in proof of Basher doing this.
As the situation heated up and more people came out with stories of their own, Basher knew he had to do something drastic to try to quell the flames. About a week or so later, Basher appeared on a Drama Alert video for an interview. Keem's tone immediately seemed to have made a complete 180.
It is possible, though. So Basher said that he blocked out a lot of his like childhood, so it's possible that the reason he's attracted to younger people is because he may have been like, you know, he might have been assaulted by his parents or somebody close to them or something. That doesn't excuse his behavior. It is possible. It's speculative.
Stating that his team had looked into the situation further and that he now believed Basher's story.
Basically, the Drama Alert team did more research into what happened with Basher 11 years ago, and we can now confirm that the ages were 18 and 15, not 20 and 13. I wanted to get Basher on here.
Wait, so then why did he say so what happened that the ages were all over the place? Was it reasonable? It was like reasonable information, or was Keemstar picking up on like bullshit? Bullshit. That's the question here.
First, to apologize. You know, Drama Alert reports the truth.
Oh, this is
right?
like a...
We've never reported that the victim was 13. All we've ever reported was that Sky Does Minecraft said the victim was 13, that the Zombie Unicorn said the victim was 13. And based on these people and their reputations, you know, my personal opinion was that you were lying.
So did those people get in trouble for that? But also, did we have their police report? You know what I mean? Like, did we have the police report here? If we had the police report, why would you believe somebody else? That seems like an inconsistency to me. Also, I guess the good thing is that we found out more weird information about him talking to underage people.
Now that we know that that's 100% truth, the first question I have for you is, how did this rumor start that the victim was 13?
Basher claimed that he...
I don't like that, because now you're doubling down. You're shifting the goalpost. So what you're saying now is like, okay, we were wrong, we got the ages wrong, but why did we get the ages wrong? And then they're putting that on you. Why were the ages wrong, Basher? It's like, well, that's a weird thing to say, Keemstar. Why would it be his responsibility for somebody making assuming a slanderous, lying narrative here?
Told the other YouTubers in the house his version of the story very early in his time with the group, but somewhere along the line someone had changed it to him raping a 13-year-old girl. As Basher told it, the story went that in the wake of the controversy, his fellow BAM Lounge members encouraged him to go back with his girlfriend Clara to his family home in Kentucky to sort things out mentally. Brandon claimed that his mother had some sort of job in the legal profession and would be able to help them out. But once the couple arrived there, the members of BAM Lounge began texting Clara privately.
Melting, my heart was like being destroyed. I started bawling. I started just like, what? Why are you leaving me? Why?
Wait,
like, why don't you stay longer? What is making you leave me? And she would not look me in the eyes. She didn't shed a single tear. It was the most pathetic thing I've ever done. My mom was even there. She can attest to it, but I know she won't because she, no offense, she doesn't like you.
so she leaves, goes with her uncle. All right.
Yeah.
And then she flies all the way back to Seattle.
No, she flew to L.A.
She
to
flew
be with the BAM guys again.
And she's still
That's
going to be
weird
on
in
the
itself.
project.
Yeah.
So your friends disown you, and then your girlfriend.
Well, yeah. Why did they
you
disown
love,
him?
and you thought that she loved you.
Oh God, I love her, dude.
17-year-old girl, dude. Oh, come on, brother.
Disowns
You have
you
no idea.
for her career.
In this
Definitely,
version
like,
of
some kind
events,
of an
Clara
attachment
came
issue.
across as almost sociopathic, emotionlessly dumping Basher as he cried and pleaded for her to stay. Keem seemed determined to paint Clara as some sort of gold digger who was only using her boyfriend for views and money, but Basher was hesitant to agree as
Wait
it
a
was
minute. What?
emotionlessly dumping Basher as he cried and pleaded for her to stay. Keem seemed determined to paint Clara as some sort of gold digger who was only using her boyfriend for views and money.
Okay, so this is the point where I think we realize how dumb of a person Keemstar is. So Keemstar is a very shallow, like, empty-headed fucking idiot, right? Because if a normal person sat there and heard, like, okay, you had a girlfriend that we were with, and then you guys flew all the way to whatever hometown you were in to get yourself mentally, you went on basically some kind of a hiatus, a spiritual vacation. I don't know what you'd want to call it. And then she leaves almost immediately. I would go, well, what's making her leave, right? Like, why did she leave? Maybe she is a gold digging asshole. Or maybe something weird's there. But Keemstar almost immediately was like, oh, she must be a gold digger. And it's like, Keemstar, you don't have the ability not to think critically, but to just think normally. That's an incredible, like, why would you go right there? That's incredibly fucking bizarre. Keep in mind, I'm the age that Keemstar, like, was during this controversy. So it's like, how the fuck? I don't understand.
But Basher was hesitant to agree as it was clear he still had feelings for her. Basher came across as the victim in this interview.
And maybe that is what happened, but I would like the context.
A man who had lost everything over what he claimed to be a baseless rumor. Just like that, the focus was shifted away from him and onto his teenage girlfriend. In this interview, the subject of the girls who had come out to accuse him of flirting with them when they were underage was also addressed. Basher fully admitted to having spoken to them, but stated that he had since reached out and apologized and that he was now on good terms with both of them. However, he did claim that he had no idea that either of them were underage, which contradicted true Wind Waker's story that he knew she was 16. This discrepancy was
Either way, I don't care. So she was 16, he was like 20 something. Like, you should have been asking age. You know, you don't get the I forgot to ask age argument when you're like 25. You know what I mean? You don't get that. Maybe when you're 20, I'll give you a slide, but 25, you forgot to ask it. I don't think so. I don't really buy that too much. I think that that's like, at that point, I would say that like the reason you're not asking age is because you just don't want to know the age.
was not even mentioned in the interview. Nevertheless, Basher came away from it looking good in the eyes of most of the YouTube community, and he made a promise never to flirt with girls over the internet again. The next day, Clara
Such a weird thing. I know that's a small thing for me to pick up on, but like, I'll never flirt with girls over the internet again. She's blaming the general interaction with people on the internet for what he actually did, which was flirting with young girls of inappropriate ages, right? So it spins this narrative that like he never knew anything, so he's just never going to talk to a girl online again. It's like, that's a weird response when the general reasonable response is to make sure that you verify age, possibly even getting somebody's driver's license, you know, have them cover the personal information but give them the date of birth or something. Why wouldn't you? Why not do that? If they say no, okay, move on.
responded to the accusations of being a gold digger in a video on her personal channel. Unfortunately, this video has been privated, which led me into a brand new rabbit hole of trying to find a re-upload of it.
Crazy.
Using the Wayback Machine and a direct link to the video,
Yeah,
I found
very
out that the
childish
name of
response.
it was My Bashurverse Story.
Also, back to the point before where I was like really aggressive about the age, like telling the age. It's also possible, this is what people do a lot of times too, is they won't give you an age, but they'll write a previous story of an inappropriate interaction, and they'll try to pull that feeling in there. So for instance, he was like, oh, he has inappropriate conversations with 17-year-olds at 28. That's really gross. And he was talking to this other girl and asking for messages and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, okay, but was she over or under 18? Because this is super important to know right now. It's just like people sometimes, like Keemstar, will forget to add the ages. They'll just use words like minor and adult for like for someone like Carson, 19 and 17, and it takes away so much of the context. Just for a fucking blockbuster, like, oh my god, here's a drop. It's actually she's 16. It's like, tell us first.
which I then searched for. The only result I was getting when looking up the title was a 12-second video that spliced together 10 seconds of her confession with a 2-second clip of the D's Nuts guy. Without any other leads, I tried to reach out to the uploader as it was clear he had downloaded the video back in the day and possibly still had it saved on a hard drive or the cloud, but when I went on his Twitter, it was suspended. I then took his internet handle to see if he was active on any other websites. This is when I found out this dude is actually an international hacker on the run from both the Guatemalan and Mexican government for stealing and leaking thousands of files.
No way.
So to put it simply, the only person with a copy of this video is currently evading law enforcement. Becoming frustrated as I spent more time trying to find this video, I next simply searched for things like Clara Baby Legs and Clara Basher on YouTube so I can scroll through every single result to see if it exists under a different name. After going through hundreds if not thousands of results, I finally find another copy of the video. When I click on the elusive confession, I notice that it's quiet, so I try raising the volume. But as it rises to max, the realization slowly hits me that while this is in fact the video in question, it has no sound, making it useless. Finally, after all this, I found an article from back in
Can you just fucking get to the video? Like,
the
what are
day
we
giving
doing
a
right
summary
now?
of what she said, so we'll just have to rely on that transcript for information. Clara claimed that the coverage of the story thus far had been heavily weighted against her, and had left out a lot of important details. According to her, she had stuck by Basher's side in times when his popularity was dipping and money was tight. On top of that, she talked about the frequent depressive episodes Basher had when they were together, and how she talked him out of multiple suicide attempts. Eventually, his mental state simply became too much for her to handle. Clara said that she and Basher were fighting constantly, and she no longer felt safe around him. It was clear to her that the relationship was on its last leg, so when BAM Lounge offered her a way out, she took it. At this point, the BAM creator house just so happened to be doxxed in a very public way.
Guy that leaked the giant,
Oh, Smile for
Keemstar
YouTube
interview.
Gaming?
Yeah, they were talking. Basher and that Smile for YouTube were talking a lot, and then all of a sudden, Clara is staying at our house because she feels unsafe to live with Bashurverse. And then all of a sudden, our house address gets leaked on a giant website, and it was told that it was anonymous. And Keemstar tweeted it out. Keemstar said, "I wonder if this is true or something like that." And it's a link to our house. And then not only that, and the only person that would know this is Bashurverse, so I know Bashurverse leaked it.
Why the fuck would Keemstar signal boost that post? Was Keemstar such a dumbass? Keemstar's like, oh, somebody doxed somebody. Hey guys, is this real? Did you really dox this person? Everybody go check it. Like, that's such an irresponsible thing to do.
Not only that, but there's pictures of each window, and in the window it gave a paragraph detail of who lived in there, how to get up there, and where do they stay at night.
This resulted in a Twitter confrontation between Brandon and Clara, which made it clear that his stance had not changed since his interview with Keemstar. He made sure to mention that he was still in love with her, and doubled down on the idea that he gave her everything, and she wouldn't be anywhere without him. It also came out during this interaction that Clara had apparently blocked him on Twitter, further muddying the waters of what was really going on behind the scenes. Around the same time, Basher uploaded a video entitled How to Be Alone, in which he walks around the empty Seattle home that he once shared with Clara.
I love her so much, and then this happened, and why did this happen? And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
It cries a lot.
I'm sorry, her hair.
On April 30th, a little over a week since the first interview...
Dude, what am I supposed to experience after watching this guy fucking come after seeing her hair? I'm not trying to laugh, and I'm sorry for using such abrasive language, but this guy is clearly unhinged. I could understand why this girl may not want to be with him. Now, it's a little weird that she broke up with him after he moved and then decided to move back. But Jesus Christ, like, this guy, this is an individual who certainly should never have been famous on the internet.
Basher appeared on Drama Alert once again to talk with his new friend Keemstar about fresh allegations that had begun to surface about Clara. Before they even...
Well, yeah, because now, at this point in the story, Drama Alert is a place for him to just, like, say something and be taken as the truth.
Began discussing this new information, though, Basher made it clear that this was the first time hearing about any of it, and this is where things became interesting.
Here's Clara taking a picture in a room, and somebody is on the bed. Do you see the circle there, the elbow?
Yeah.
Whose room
that's Garrett's room. What the f?
So now, I know you haven't seen this.
Dude, that's straight up Garrett's room. That is Garrett's room.
The next image is coming from a vlog from Big Mac, and whose bed is Garrett on?
That's Clara's bed. That's where she's sleeping, apparently. That's where she was sleeping to. What the f? That's the blanket that I bought for Clara. I bought that for Clara when we were together.
Okay, I really don't care. None of this is really hitting me.
Oh God, what the f?
Keemstar's trying not to laugh, yeah.
The idea that Clara might be dating former friend Garrett was clearly distressing to Basher, especially since it was so soon after their breakup. He claimed that he had been trying to get in contact with her on a near daily basis since she dumped him, but had only gotten a response that day in the form of a text where she said she loved him and she never meant to hurt him. That was when Keem dropped the bombshell. Keem revealed that he
What the fuck was that clip?
had been collaborating in secret with a man by the name of Smile for YouTube, the owner of a Minecraft server who had worked with both Basher and Clara on multiple occasions. Smile stated that he had been messaging back and forth with Clara, offering to pay her just to speak with Brandon. Not only that, he played the audio of a Skype call he had with her earlier that day, around the same time she texted Basher. In this call, Smile offered to pay Clara $1,000 to text Brandon to calm him down during one of his emotional episodes, which she appears to have agreed to.
She seems really concerned because she just messaged me. He already did the interview. Too late. We are all f***ed.
What?
I just sent that in the chat right now so we can all see it.
Is that why she said she loved him? To calm him down?
Play the audio.
Here it is.
You have actual audio?
Here it is. Hey.
No, I know. Hey, what's up?
Say something to him. You have to talk to him nice or something like that. 'Cause he's bowling his eyes out. I'll give you $1,000. Bullshit your way through this. I'll give you $1,000 right now. Okay.
I left him a
Okay,
voicemail
if I give you $1,000 right now, will you at least be nice and kind to him and try to make him all happy right now before he goes on to drama alert?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I need.
Too late. We're all f***ed.
Jesus Christ. That's a shitty thing for her to do. And also the guy to pay them. My God.
Yeah, you're f***ed. You used me. Yes, you are f***ed. It's bullshit. You don't use people. This is fucking A. I'm not going through this pain every single night. Every single night I go through this pain. You know I have to drink NyQuil every single night in order to sleep.
I'm sorry. Like, sometimes I'll take NyQuil to go to sleep because I have trouble sleeping as well. But you know why? A lot of times it's because, you know, I'm a YouTuber. I don't do shit. You know what I mean? I fucking sit on the computer. You know, I'm really burning a lot of energy.
Because going upstairs to that bed is so fucking hard for me. And I see her making these tweets like everything's all fine, and her on her freaking live streams like everything's all fucking fine. I don't fucking care anymore. You used me. You got caught. I don't care anymore. I don't care. At least in the end, I got the f***er in the
Jesus Christ. This guy is definitely unhinged, dude.
When this video went up, it quickly became the hottest topic of the moment. It racked up millions of views, becoming one of Keemstar's best performing videos of all time, and launching him to a new level of popularity. Basher also became one of the biggest Twitter trends, with creators and viewers alike from all reaches of the online world chiming in on the clip of Keem's reaction to the revelation that Basher had sodomized Clara, becoming a meme overnight.
The word sodomize is so, like, morally, like, loaded, like in a bad way. Like, it's, I mean, how old was she, I guess?
And just like that, the opinion of the internet seemed to be overwhelmingly in Basher's favor, with most feeling that the evidence was—
What? Dude, if a dude was like, at least I fucked her in the ass, I would have been like, that's a little uncomfortable. Though I guess she did get paid the $1,000 to just try to, like, go along with some manipulative narrative that Keemstar was complicit in, by the way.
It's now clear that Bam was trying to bring him down.
What the fuck happened? Alright, I guess we just can't hear the fucking video.
Favor, with most—
What is happening right now? Oh.
Feeling that the evidence was now clear that Bam was trying to bring him down, Basher's favor. With most feeling that the evidence was now clear that Bam was trying to bring him down and that Clara had been using him all along. Not wanting to let a good thing go to waste, Keem began to milk the Bashurverse cash cow for all that it was worth. Basher could hardly sneeze without Keem including him in a daily drama alert video. For example,
I will be honest, it sounds like my experience with Trisha a little bit. I mean, I do post a lot about her. You know, I feel like at least it's contextually accurate and necessary, but...
example, Brandon once responded sympathetically to the death of a transgender video game developer, to which Keem asked the question if it meant that Basher himself was actually trans. No matter how mundane, a Drama Alert found a reason to report on it. On May 1st, the day after the interview, Jobless Garrett posted a video to his own channel in the hopes of quelling the rumors surrounding him. He completely denied the idea that he and Clara were sleeping together, citing Keemstar's admittedly poor evidence to back up his claims. However, Garrett's explanation of what was really going on was strange to say the least, and made many wonder what the deal was with the living arrangements in this house. According to him, with the way the BAM Lounge was structured, they simply didn't have enough space for everybody who was living there, so some rooms needed to serve double functions. When Clara moved back into the BAM house, Garrett's bedroom was split down the middle, half of it still belonging to him and the other half becoming Clara's office. That explained why she took the selfie in Garrett's bedroom, and why he was still asleep in the bed when the picture was taken.
That's a weird... I feel like... Is that really true? I guess maybe. Like, he gets the bed, she gets the office. Okay. I guess that's not that bad. I thought they were splitting the bedroom. Is that what it is? Or does she sleep in the bed? I don't know.
As to why he was sleeping in her bed, Garrett said that sometimes Clara would want to live stream in her office early in the morning when he wanted to sleep in. He obviously didn't want to be in the background of her streams, so he would instead go downstairs to sleep in Clara's bed in the living room. The video ended with Garrett stating,
even if they were fucking, though, who cares? It's none of his business. They're not together anymore, you know?
That he had explained the whole thing to Basher in person, and that the two had actually watched the interview together at Basher's house. It even included a short clip at the end of Basher and Garrett together in which Basher cleared the air and said he believed Garrett's story. Basher seemed to be making amends with his former enemies, and soon he would reconnect with another.
You realize that, like, all, like, loser video gamers have either, like, that haircut or wear a beanie? I'm just being honest with you guys. It's true.
Basher seemed to be making amends with his former enemies, and soon he would reconnect with another.
Like, look. Even Keemstar, look, he's wearing he's wearing a hat, but it's the same thing. Same thing.
Making amends with his former enemies, and soon he would reconnect with another. Merely 2 days after the interview, Clara went on Twitter to publicly announce that she had moved out of the BAM Lounge. This was strange given how much trouble she went through to live there in the first place. But that strangeness was nothing compared to the reveal of who she was living with now. Brandon Asher. Yes, the two took a selfie together and stated that she had moved back into his house in Seattle, and were talking through what had happened. This begins the next chapter in the Bashurverse saga. Basher initially denied the rumors that he and Clara were dating again, but soon confirmed it in a video titled 18 Million Volts of Forgiveness, featuring Brandon and Clara tasing each other to make things between the two even.
Back in September, we had a miscarriage.
What the fuck is happening right now? First of all, that's weird. Second of all, what the fuck is happening?
Clara got pregnant, and it turned out to be an ectopic pregnancy.
Okay.
And she had a miscarriage, and we lost the baby. And that's something that we never see. Clara got pregnant.
To even.
Back in September, we had a miscarriage.
September of what?
Clara got pregnant, and it turned out to be an ectopic pregnancy.
Jesus
and
Christ.
She had a miscarriage, and we lost the baby. And that's something that we never really told anyone about. We told our close friends.
Something that needs to be talked about is the Skype conversation that I was recorded in on Drama Alert. I really, really regret that, and it was terrible and incredibly messed up, and the best thing right now that I can do is ask for forgiveness for it. So, I am going to be tased.
With 18 million volts of a...
Okay, so you just told us that the girl that you supposedly love had a miscarriage. And yeah, then we talked about the Skype whatever being fake or whatever bullshit. And now you're going to tase this person under the context that she had a miscarriage? Are we feeling like we glossed over how mentally stressful that is for a woman to experience? Or a trans man? You know, I don't know. Just kind of forgot about that part. This guy seems like a douchebag. I don't understand.
Forgiveness.
Oh, Jesus! At best, people were confused by this update. The breakneck narrative shift from Basher being a manipulative pedo to Clara being a heartless gold digger to the new one of them being a couple again was jarring to say the least, and the tasing aspect only made it more perplexing. People began to turn on Basher once again, with some claiming that he and Clara faked all of this drama just for attention. Upon asking those involved in the drama about this change to edgier content, it turns out that allegedly the people at the website Social Blade began to push Basher to do more exploitative content, as they began to take a cut of his revenue. As the story goes, while this more edgy content was bad for Brandon's mental health, it was good for their bottom line.
He got in connection with people at Social Blade, and Social Blade was helping him create new content, so they started doing challenges.
So, I'm pretty sure that, like, at this time, YouTube may not have been monetized, so, like, you had to monetize a different way, and that's why they're doing all this weird shit to stay famous.
Videos. Now, I gave him a couple ideas for challenge videos, because I was doing them at the time, but then they also gave him challenge video ideas. And they were filming him with very expensive cameras.
Was it at the time? Are you sure? Because I remember a long time ago watching like a PewDiePie video about how in the beginning there was no like monetization, like ad revenue on that platform. Was it? Okay. I'm very, bro. I'm so new to like YouTube. I never really watched it. But okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Shut up. Stop being mean. Okay. People got money back in like 2011. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Two people from Social.
Listen. Shut up. Why do you have to be so mean to me? Why do you guys have to be so rude? This is why I like to do these live, so that when I get something wrong, you could yell at me. But you guys are always so mean.
Social Blade that we met once, and they wanted to take him and grow his channel because they said, we're from Social Blade, We can grow your channel. And they had to be in their like late 30s or early 40s. Two 40-year-olds filming them getting tased, filming these weird little challenge videos. And I think they wanted a part of his channel eventually. Like, we're going to grow you, but we want to take a little piece.
Around this time, the public also began going after Basher due to the increasing sexualization of his videos. He had always used Clara's looks in some capacity to get views, but after they got back together, it started ramping up to a large degree. Pretty much every one of his videos featured Clara in a bikini or showing excessive amounts of skin, and the contents of the videos weren't much different. Many saw this as blatantly exploitative behavior, made even worse given the fact that much of Basher's audience was young children. While public opinion may have been turning on Basher, his relationship—
Well, it's just weird that why does she need to be naked right now? Like, I'm not even going to talk about anything else except for, like, it's completely irrelevant to the story.
Relationship with Clara seemed to be doing better than ever before, at least from an outsider's perspective. They were back living together and making videos, and it even came out that they had plans to get married. Despite the apparent success in his love life, Basher's mental health did not seem to improve much over this time. He announced in July of 2015 that he would start taking medication to help both with his depression and anxiety disorders. Brandon also went on several Twitter rants over the following months, lamenting the loss of the people he once considered to be his friends who had turned on him, and how he—
I don't like stuff like this.
Lamenting the loss of the people he once—
I don't like it when you say stuff like, I almost killed myself on the way home. Like, I just feel like this, dude, I'm not saying that he didn't have these types of thoughts, but this is generally like very manipulative behavior to announce this in a way that's not trying to get help for this thing. Right, so if you go to your family member and be like, hey, I've been thinking about taking my life a lot, like, I need help. Okay. If you go to somebody like, oh, I want to kill myself, like, that's you in this context, I would say it's because you want sympathy, and I think it's shitty.
It's considered to be his friends who had turned on him, and how he felt he would never be able to clear his name of the accusations of pedophilia. Despite getting further and further from the original controversy and new developments constantly coming up in his favor, Basher still seemed to be convinced that his life and career were destroyed beyond repair.
What has happened in the last couple days? Because you were happy, you had all this support. I don't get it.
Because
what changed?
I thought I could figure it out. I've got all this support. I've got all these people.
Exactly.
Dude, support does not give me ideas. Support does not give me content. Support does not
So he's stressing out over not having enough content to do?
me down in front of a computer and put the game in front of me or put the vlog in front of me.
I mean, it could. You could be like, hey guys, what do you like? Hey guys, what do you guys like? Hey, I have like I can't read that. Let's just say he has like 100,000 followers. Hey guys, what do you like to look? I don't know.
I have a crazy idea. I have a crazy idea. How about you just live stream, all right, and just talk to your fans. Just talk to them.
This all culminated in November of that same year when Basher tweeted that he planned to check himself into a mental health facility. Keemstar reached out to confirm the legitimacy of the statement, to which Basher responded angrily, blaming Keem for his destroyed reputation.
Basher comes on to Drama Alert and explain how I ruined his life. Every dollar made on this content will go to the payers for fire. Okay. But that doesn't seem at all like what you just said. Going home, going to check into some mental facility and see if I can find a way to recover and salvage my life.
Basher tweeted that he planned to check himself into a mental health facility. Keemstar reached out to confirm the legitimacy of the statement, to which Basher responded angrily, blaming Keem for his destroyed reputation, which was a strange jab considering how much work Keem had done since originally breaking the story to paint Basher in a positive light. Around this time, rumors were circling around that Basher actually had plans to sue Keemstar, and the lawsuit was to be funded by a fellow YouTuber known as Futuristic Hub, an interesting man most well known for truly bizarre videos including Minecraft porn and other animations.
What the fuck? Just kind of threw that out of left field, dude. I'm like, oh, who's this guy? Oh, well, he does the porn that you've come across on Pornhub before. It's like, well, I have seen it. I thought the guy's name was Tacky T. You know what? Let's move on.
His involvement in the story is confusing to say the least. In the beginning, he was one of the many people spreading the original pedophile allegations. However, somewhere along the way, his point of view shifted completely, with him defending Basher and deeming Keem to be the true enemy. Futuristic Hub's motivations seemed to confuse even the people who knew him, and it's hard to tell exactly what he hoped to gain from all this. Regardless, this lawsuit—
Dude, what is this? No, for all jokes aside, what the fuck is happening right now? Are we showing like the introductions to like a full-fledged staged thing? You know what I'm saying?
Didn't go anywhere, and Basher disappeared from the internet for a little under a month. Basher returned to YouTube again in December, posting simple, low-effort vlogs consisting of him and Clara just lying in bed. These weren't the only videos they were making, but fans were feeling a bit insulted by how little he seemed to care. However, the irritation over these vlogs was nothing compared to the outrage sparked by a video he posted later that week, in which he pranked Clara while in the shower by throwing flour on her. While the prank itself was clearly faked, the main issue people had with it was that Clara was nude for the entire runtime of the video. It was censored, of course, and Basher had been sexualizing Clara for views for some time now, but many saw it as a step too far, especially considering Basher's young audience. This backlash didn't seem to faze Basher, though, as he quickly went to the video's comments to say—
Wait, so I have a question, okay? Slippery T? What did I say? Who the fuck is Tacky T then? Whatever, I don't care. Anyway, Titty T, nice. So let me get this straight. This guy used to make like Minecraft videos. So you do Let's Plays and make Minecraft videos. And how the fuck did he get here? I don't know what kind of content to make. Stream on Minecraft? I don't know. I don't understand.
That he would release the uncensored version if his channel reached 10 million subscribers in 2016. Not only that, but the next day he sent out a tweet saying that he had received a number of offers for naked photos of Clara. He attached a link to his PayPal with the promise that anyone—
Wait, what? Those of you offering a shitload of money to see Clara naked, our PayPal is— what the hell? What the fuck?
Who paid him enough money would get her nudes.
Dude, I would never. Like, without my wife. Like, listen, if we decided to make it OnlyFans, I would do that. That's fine. But, like, I don't know, bro. It's a little weird.
He didn't specify how much he was charging for them, simply stating, "We'll tell you when it's enough." It's worth noting that Clara was not an exploited victim in all this, as she was on Twitter backing up Basher and cheering him on as he did this. Despite that, the shower video was quickly removed by YouTube after being flagged en masse. This new devil-may-care attitude for Basher continued into—
He said, hey, YouTube, it's just a prank, bro.
Removed by YouTube after—
He said, hey, it's just a prank, bro. Okay.
After being flagged en masse. This new devil-may-care attitude for Basher continued into July 15, 2016, when he appeared on Drama Alert for yet another interview with Keemstar, even though he had recently blamed him for his mental problems. He immediately came off as more manic and unhinged than usual, even stating that he was feeling different. This wasn't helped by his claim that he had recently gone off his meds, choosing instead to self-medicate with marijuana. On the upside, Basher claimed to be much more resilient
Well, I mean, marijuana is actually not that bad, so I'm just saying.
to harassment and rumors now, brushing off statements that would have at one point sent him into an emotional frenzy. The subject of Basher's use of Clara's body for views was brought up as well, which
50,000 likes and I waxed her lady bits. Okay.
she predictably bragged about.
Is it bad that you're pimping out your girlfriend?
No, because that money that comes back, you know, pays for her too, so she loves it.
Okay. And then there's also...
I mean, this gets into a conversation about supporting sex work and all that, but I don't know, dude. It's just, like, bizarre to me. It's, you know what it is? Actually, I think what the problem is more that, like, I don't know. It's one thing... Yeah, she loves it. Who knows if that's true. It's one thing to have a separate platform for that kind of stuff. It's another thing to use your platform that mostly children watch to promote that thing. You know, does that make sense? You know, like if I did have an OF and like I also don't have like a childish audience, I feel like I have a reasonably mature audience. But I think you understand what I'm saying. You know, you shouldn't be using the YouTube videos that's just why you're gonna go plug this kind of sexualized content. It's bizarre.
There was also a point where you did this prank where Clara was naked, right? And,
yes.
And you said that you would release the
on
uncensored version if you reached, 10 million
10 million subscribers in 2016. Go over to my channel right now and subscribe, and we will release an uncensored version of that video at 10 million subs.
But will you really do that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for 10 million subs? Are you kidding? We'll release a sex tape.
Keem also touched on a video that Basher had made a few days ago that was drawing more backlash. In this video, Basher reacted to his original Freakout video, pretending as though he had never seen it before while eating popcorn. He made jokes at his own expense in the video, even asking multiple times if he was going to commit suicide. A lot of people were offended by this, seeing it as Basher making light of a serious topic that he had helped start a discussion of in the first place.
That's really crazy. So either this guy, I mean, there's so many narratives possible. It seems like either he's going to a point of like becoming unhinged, which seems like he's really, excuse me for yawning. It seems like he's really desperate for content, so he's doing this kind of shit like just to get forced controversy. But also, it could suggest that that wasn't even a genuine freak out. If you're gonna like belittle it and be like, you're gonna kill yourself, you know.
According to him, the point of the video was to reclaim his mental illness and show that he had moved past that dark stage of his life. He wanted to be a symbol for people going through similar struggles, stating that if he could get through it, anyone could.
Yeah, that's not what's happening here. If you would do that, you could react to it. You wouldn't. First of all, I feel like it would be triggering to react to a literal mental breakdown. Second of all, you could just talk about the video in context and it would be fine.
However, this positive can-do attitude for Basher didn't seem to stick around for very long. Despite publicly making up with Sky Does Minecraft in February, who was one of the first people to disavow Brandon, in March he was right back to his old self. That month was when Basher threatened on Twitter that he was going to quit YouTube, but walked back the statement almost instantly. If he was doing better before, he now seemed to be right back at where he started. After that, things mostly continued as usual for a while, with Brandon and Clara floating around the idea of starting a Patreon for her nudes. Things were getting out of control as alliances kept on changing along with their stories. Soon enough, a new bombshell would be dropped that would turn this case inside out.
This is how it's done. All right. Okay, this is the game plan. All right, you get her in this private call. You record her saying this stuff. Okay. Then we come on and we do the interview, right? And I say something like, and you tell me the background. I'm saying, other than this text, do you have any proof? Like, do you have any real proof? I know she said this to you in a private Skype conversation, you know, smile for YouTube. But, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people out there that say, you know, that you're full of shit. There's going to be a lot of people out there saying that, you know, maybe you and Basher made a deal behind the scenes.
On March 25th, 2016, Keemstar was interviewed by a fellow drama channel, Scarce, to discuss a recently leaked piece of audio that seemed to completely change the context of a lot of this story thus far. This audio was recorded directly before Keem's popular interview with Basher that exposed Clara as a gold digger. In the clip, Keem can be heard planning out the video ahead of time with Basher and Smile for YouTube, talking about exactly how things will go down. This made it clear that Basher's reaction to the news had been entirely faked, as he is on record talking about all the over-the-top ways he could act. Even the infamous sodomy line was apparently decided beforehand.
Do you have any legitimate proof that she said this? I mean, these conversations can be forged, and then you interrupt me and you're just
yes, sir, I do. I got a video, I have audio right now.
Okay, give me the audio, and then we play it in the interview. Oh my god, it's over. Coming from Drama Alert.
And I'll even react. I'll even react like I've never heard it.
As for Keem's explanation...
Okay. Well, yeah. But that makes it even more gross, because it's like he didn't just say, at least I fucked her in the ass. He was like, I'm going to say this to be disparaging towards her. Also makes Keemstar look like a scum fuck, too. Because now, what we have is a situation where a guy had inappropriate interactions with multiple girls. And Keemstar covered it to try to get the full context. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I think that's a reasonable... And then after, for whatever reason, Keemstar decided to play along with a narrative that shifted the blame towards one of the girls who was of an inappropriate age when they started dating. This feels like that could be argued as some kind of like apologist rhetoric, like SA apologist rhetoric. No, it is the start of Keemstar's. I guess he got popular quickly off of this story, and he just wanted to say things that would make him more popular. This seems like a turning point for Keemstar, becoming more popular by being dishonest.
He said he wanted to help Basher out and thought that the best way to do that would be to make the interview as dramatic as possible. Although Keem was not alone in this, as it seems Basher was the one who included Smile for YouTube in the scheme.
And Basher just starts freaking crying and he's upset, and then finally anger comes out of this guy who's just acting so sad, and he belts out, "At least in the end, I got to f her in."
That wasn't staged?
That was in the private Skype call, okay?
Okay.
So I'm dying, Scarce. Like, my face is red because I'm trying not to laugh. You know what I mean? Because this is really sensitive time. But, like, I just couldn't hold it, and I just burst out laughing, right? And so then we start talking about, like, doing this interview and going over everything, and the Smile for YouTube guy is obsessed with freaking, you know, exposing Clara or whatever, because he actually was trying to land a sponsorship deal with Basher, because Basher was a bigger pull. My main objective is to get the facts and get the news out to my audience, but it's also to make my show entertaining, right? So we come up with the idea that Basher is going to hear all this information for the...
What a weird, like, dude, stop. If your job, listen, drama's kind of ridiculous anyway. I mean, I'm a drama channel now, so fuck me, right? But what you're saying is, it's my job to report on the facts, but also to sensationalize the fuck out of it. Yeah, news, in quotation marks. News. That's dishonest. That's bullshit.
First time, and that's basically how we faked it or staged it. But all the information in the actual video is real, just the reaction isn't, I guess, authentic. It is the same reaction he had in the private Skype call, but it's just reenacted, right?
According to Keem, despite Basher's reaction to it being staged, the audio of Clara accepting $1,000 to talk to him was still real. Keem was sure to stress that nothing said in the interview was a lie. He merely wanted to heighten the drama. Still, a lot of people took issue with this, saying that Keem's job was to report the news, not to be a showman. As for who leaked the audio, that was Smile for YouTube, as he had been hounding Basher and Keem for months to pay him in order to keep the secret, but with no success. However, Scarce was not the person Smile gave the audio to. In his video, Scarce did not link to the original source of the audio or even say the name of the person who had initially broken the story. If he had, many would have discovered a completely new angle that turned this entire controversy on its head.
What the fuck's happening right now? Why is this such a goddamn conspiracy-esque
When I
narrative?
decided to start working on this project, I originally just planned for it to be a basic video chronicling the mental breakdown of one of Minecraft's biggest stars. But the deeper I looked into this, the less things added up. The timelines never made sense, and it seemed like the day-to-day dysfunction of Basher made people forget about the original accusations, and the validity of them. Through our research, we stumbled upon yet another side of the story that complicates things even more, while also at the same time having things make more sense. For me to explain this, let's rewind back a year.
Okay.
Around the same time Keemstar picked up this story in 2015, another small YouTuber by the name of Mr. Sif was also getting involved, but without a fraction of the attention of Drama Alert. Sif ran a channel called Camp Kill Commentary that mostly made videos about Call of Duty before finding himself doing some sleuthing into Basher's past. To be clear, all the information we are about to tell comes—
Dude, why the fuck? Why are all these dudes like Call of Duty players? All these grown men doing drama. I mean, I know I'm one of the grown men. I know it's not really criticizing myself almost, but it's just bizarre.
From our conversation with Mr. Sif, along with the past. To be clear, all the information we are about to tell comes from our conversation with Mr. Sif, along with his uploads from 2016 on the subject, and screenshots he showed us corroborating his story and timeline. Whether you choose to believe what is about to be told is completely up to you. According to him, he started off knowing very little about the situation beyond Basher's arrest, and immediately spent a lot of time trolling Basher, replying to every one of his tweets and bringing up his record. He did this for a while until Basher finally reacted, lashing out and replying to Sif's tweets angrily. This is what really propelled him into the situation, as according to him, a number of people who had gotten to know Basher over the years began to reach out. A lot of these people were creators who wanted to talk in private about the various rumors and stories they'd heard about Basher. One person, however, stood out from the crowd and serves as one of the strangest loose ends in this entire story: Basher's ex-girlfriend.
Oh, it's the girl he lived with before he was ever an internet celebrity, I guess. And yeah, I got to talk to her a lot. Actually paid her phone bill once just so she could continue talking to me. She sent me a lot of pictures.
Simp. I'm just kidding.
A lot of stuff about Basher.
In Basher's tell-all video, he made it sound like after the incident where he had a run-in with the law, he was kind of a shut-in for a decade. That's at least how he made it sound before he got popular on YouTube. But you're basically saying that there was a whole other side of Basher that he did not let on to, where he had a live-in girlfriend and he had a life that was not just him sitting in his house playing video games all the time.
Oh, no, he didn't have a life. She was very clear that he was locked in a room alone all the time. Like, they basically had problems because she caught him talking to little girls. That was the big problem between them. She knows he's pretty sexually sick. And, like, in my opinion, I'm not a doctor.
Now before you ask, this woman was not Clara, nor was it the girl who Basher said cheated on him back when he was a teenager. This was a different person entirely, someone who claimed to have been dating Basher during his decade of isolation following his arrest, an era of his life that we previously knew nothing about. If you remember, in this confession video, Basher said he had no contact with people other than his mother during this period of time, so needless to say, it's bizarre that he never before mentioned this girl's existence.
Was this girl confirmed to exist? But like, yeah, that's true. Like, what a scumbag.
According to her, the story about Basher being a shut-in was completely true, as he rarely left his room for the entire time they were dating, putting quite a strain on their relationship. Not only that, but according to her, he was still messaging other girls on a frequent basis, which obviously didn't help matters either. At the time, she tried to simply write it off as one of his personalities.
Tried to, but he insisted on it and kept quiet because I was dependent on him. He has nudes of a lot of girls.
Basis, which obviously didn't help matters either. At the time, she tried to simply write it off as one of his personality quirks. Sif also claimed that she said Basher was both physically and sexually abusive towards her.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I put some...
I didn't read the rest of them, sorry. I really don't want to be involved in this now, being older. I wish I was.
Sif also claimed that she said Basher
true, so just, you're helping others.
was both physically and sexually abusive towards her.
Yeah.
Who the fuck sent them a heart? That guy sent the heart? This guy seems like a weirdo. The guy that expose Basher. Fuck you, whatever.
I put some of the transcripts up where she said he has lots of. I put up a video where she's talking to the victim because I got the victim, the young girl, to talk to the ex-girlfriend, and they just talked it out on Skype, and me and another YouTuber just watched, and it was pretty emotional. And they were just going back and forth about how the ex-girlfriend said she was physically abused and sexually abused, and the little girl said she was naive and ignorant, and those two girls talked to each other, the young girl and the ex-girlfriend, and the ex-girlfriend made it clear that that was his lifestyle. Like, he was a shut-in. He would sit there and talk on the computer all the time, and she would catch him all the time talking to girls, and she was aware that he liked underage girls and little girls and small girls. It's just accepted in their relationship, or not accepted, but, you know, it's like your girlfriend snores, so you're like, oh, I got a snoring girlfriend. That sucks. That's how she felt about him liking little girls, I guess.
Jesus Christ. What a fucking comparison. Okay.
Right. And that girl was going to come forward. I almost got her so close to coming forward, but Keemstar was posting shit, and then all the freaking maniac fans were like slandering this girl, and she was just so scared. Like, she said that she was afraid to come forward all these years because she thought Basher would kill her.
See, that's the abuse of power dynamic, using your platform to silence people from speaking the truth.
That she really thought he would.
Jesus, I don't doubt it. Last year
Did
seems
she have
to
any
be
reason to
fucking
believe
insane.
that? Was there any threats made against her by Basher?
Well, she knows he really likes violence. He really likes sexual violence. Like, he's just the stuff I was putting on the internet. This, gross, dude, that he really typed that stuff.
To this day, both the ex-girlfriend and the other girl remain anonymous. Sif was also put in contact with several members of the Masons, the World of Warcraft clan that allegedly Basher was a member of during his time as a shut-in. According to them, Basher was sending sexually explicit emails to at least one woman.
You have a great ass. It's amazing. Wouldn't mind doing things to it. Focus. Dallas Comic-Con. I can't. My cock is hard as fuck. I'm working at an election at the moment. What about that new chick? She's adorbs. Hit her up.
A claim that they did provide screenshots for, including one showing what they claim to be his genitals. It's worth noting that this woman in particular was of legal age.
It's crazy what kids are saying on the internet these days. It's crazy. I assumed they're playing World of Warcraft. Like, only fucking fat old people play like myself.
When pressed about
not anymore though, because of their allegations.
This, Basher claimed to have
crazy. Text message fantasies were things you said to me. Is it found them? Sure. Sorry, but I keep getting messages from you. I'm not trying to be rude. I don't know who you are. Not being rude.
Never been a member of this clan and had no idea who they were. But several players have come forward to refute his denial.
Basher, Brandon, he came into the guild as Hyperion, the Doomer.
Oh yeah, Hyperion.
The biggest dick I've ever met. I don't know, out of the 20-something.
Who looks like that? What kind of a person is fat with glasses and a beard and headphones on? Fucking idiot. Got him. Got him.
People in the guild, anybody that would deal with him anymore, aside from the whole pedophile.
Is WoW worth it now? Not at all. Of course not. The fucking company is scum shit, with like horrible being sued by California for like sexual harassment charges. Like, one woman took her own life because she dated one of the managers and then he leaked her nudes. And there's a constant like repressing of women trying to come forward about one of the people that was like a manager in their company sexually harassing them, and they just ignored it. Like, no, don't ever play any Blizzard game ever.
Yeah, you're right, man. I remember he'd get in a fight and he'd get kicked out, and then he'd somehow get back in.
Yeah,
that was his fault.
What can I say? I was friends with him for a long time. I mean, the dude's charming, you know. He was fun to be around, and then.
Yeah, I know that he's dead. That's why we're going through all this information here. Thank you.
Well, turns out he's just a liar.
He used to post a picture of him in an NVIDIA t-shirt because he was an NVIDIA engineer for a while there. What else? His dad is a famous country star who was going to sue all of us. Oh yeah, he worked for Blizzard, quality control.
With all this evidence piling up,
he worked for Blizzard Quality Control. That's very telling.
Sif was becoming a powerful force on the anti-Basher front as he made several videos with his proof during the controversy being seen by thousands of people. As more and more sources began to come to Sif with their stories and evidence, he received a message from a surprising person, none other than Keemstar himself. Apparently Keem was a really big fan of his Basher coverage, promising to make him rich and famous if he continued doing what he was doing. Sif was confused by this, as Keem didn't really specify how he planned on making good on that promise other than commenting on his videos. But he appreciated the gesture and counted Keem as a new ally. Sometime later, Sif received another message from Keem simply saying that he was going to call him over Skype and to be ready for it. When Sif answered, he discovered that Basher and Clara were on the call as well.
So at this time, I'm like, yeah.
Wait.
Received another message from Keem simply saying that he was going to call him over Skype and to be ready for it. When Sif answered, he discovered that Basher and Clara were on the call as well.
So at this time, I'm like, yeah, me and Keemstar are going to go in a Skype call and fight Basher and Clara. So we get in the Skype call, and Keemstar's like, introduces us to each other, and I'm like, hey, what's up, Basher? And he's like, hey, man, what's up? And I'm like, hey, what's up? And Claire's like, hello, blah, blah. So Basher's like, look, man, I was thinking maybe we could just all drop this. We'll both publicly say we dropped this, and it's over. And then, you know, I'm sorry I said that on blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, we'll just end it right here kind of thing. And then Keemstar's like, so, what do you say? You guys are cool now? And I'm like, what? And I'm like, no, this guy's a pedophile. We're here to get him, you know? And then Keemstar's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, he's a pedophile, and we're here to get him. And Basher just starts going, I am not a pedophile. And he starts like getting wild, a little wild, not flipping out totally.
I'm hoping that this guy, why wouldn't you record that interaction? I would have fucking done it, even if...
Totally yet, right? So I'm like, okay, settle down. Let's settle down. I don't know. I said some hot-headed things. I did. I said some things to Basher that was mean. He wasn't flipping out. So then I'm like, you're a sexual predator. I have all these transcripts that show that you have a sex addiction, like seriously out of control. And then Clara Babylegs, I remember it like yesterday, just goes, shows what you know. I have to beg him to have sex at least once a week. He's not a sexual addicted guy, blah, blah, blah.
Oof.
And I was just like, Clara, how old are you? And then he went nuts. Like, I heard hitting the ground and stuff, and he was like, Wah! And anytime I tried to talk from there, he was just yelling over me, like trying to stop my voice from happening by him screaming. And she's going, calm down, honey, calm down. And then Keemstar said, see what you did kind of thing. Like, oh, well, great. You know, I'm trying to bring you guys in here to make friends, blah, blah, blah.
Dude, how did Keemstar start as the hero of the story and end as the villain? I don't understand it. Like, he really allowed this Basher situation to take himself off. I don't know if this isn't necessarily verifiable. This is a lot of claims. But from what we've seen so far, I mean, they could be true.
And I'm like, make friends. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Keemstar, you're the news. You're supposed to report on this. And he's like, your source is Futuristic Hub. Futuristic Hub is my enemy, and as long as that's your source, you're a fool. I'm gonna make a laughing stock out of you.
Well, he claimed that you kind of threw out a lot of the information because you scoffed it off as just being information from Futuristic Hub. So basically what I'm getting at is he claimed that because the information was coming from a source you didn't like, you tried to ignore some of the claims of Basher messaging other girls.
I don't even know how to respond to that because I didn't get any information from Futuristic Hub. And if I did, it had to have been something so little that I don't remember, you know?
At this point, it's important to talk a bit more about Mr. Sith's relationship with Futuristic Hub. He was one of the first creators who knew Basher to get in contact with him and share the evidence and stories that he had. It was him who provided Sith with an important piece of evidence, namely a video of another girl giving her Basher's story. According to this girl, Basher had started messaging her over Facebook when she was just 13 years of age. Similar to True Wind Waker's story from earlier, he quickly asked to move their conversation over to Skype, which he agreed to since she was just excited to be talking to a famous YouTuber. Once there, Basher began to get very sexual, asking her for revealing photos and to get naked for him on camera. Thankfully, she refused, and he quickly removed her from Facebook and blocked her. This girl did have some evidence to prove she was talking to Basher, and the fact that she quickly deleted the video when it started getting any—
Well, that's not evidence that she necessarily talked to him. That's a fucking Minecraft thing.
The girl did have some evidence to prove she was talking to Basher, and the fact that she quickly deleted the video when it started getting any amount of views makes it unlikely that she was just saying things for attention. Though to be clear, Basher denies her claims. Sith and Futuristic Hub began talking on the phone regularly, speaking for 3 hours a day for about 3 weeks straight. According to Mr. Sith, Futuristic Hub's behavior was erratic to say the least, quickly switching back and forth from calm to furious in a matter of minutes.
Alright, Futuristic Hub. He was manic. I don't know what word to use. He would be up, he'd be down. At 1 minute, he'd be totally zen, because I give people good advice to calm down, be balanced. And he'd be like, yeah, zen. And then he'd call me up like an hour after we talked and be like, that's it, I'm getting a gun, I'm going to kill somebody, I'm gonna f***ing murder somebody. And I'm like, whoa, man, we were just talking zen, remember? We're floating on a raft through Lake U.
It's obvious that Futuristic Hub hated Keemstar, as he said on at least one occasion that he wanted to kill him, but his feelings towards Basher were much less clear. In public, Futuristic Hub and Basher acted incredibly friendly, saying they loved each other like brothers. But in his conversations with Mr. Sith, Futuristic Hub apparently claimed to barely even know Basher, and that his outward persona was all for show. As I mentioned before, his motivations didn't make sense even to the people who knew him. According to Mr. Sith, he even at one point tried to get in touch—
Wait, is that the guy that made the Minecraft porn? Is that why it's called Futuristic Hub?
—with the FBI to investigate Basher, but to no avail.
So I call the FBI. I talked to them for like hour and a half, and then they just took the whole story down, asked me questions like, oh, so this is this? And I'm like, yeah. And this is his name? I'm like, yeah. And you have this information? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay, thank you very much. And then they were gone. You know?
It's worth noting that in all of Drama Alert's coverage of the Basher situation, he never once mentioned Mr. Sith in any of his videos, and instead of covering all of these new allegations in depth, Keem chose to focus on a different angle, and found new villains for the story.
is fucking crazy. Okay, so what this? I mean, obviously, this is very ridiculous. Okay, so Keemstar originally questioned Bashurverse's credibility on his story because there were inconsistencies, which is something that you should do. That's my point. That's like I've been. That's what I was saying originally. Obviously, like I've been consistent about that. Then he noticed talking about Bashur got him a lot of popularity. So he decided to ignore allegations that... So he decided to become his friend, and then he would ignore allegations that he was a bad person. Wow, Keemstar, you are a fucking loser.
On March 26, 2016, Keemstar had an interview with Clara on Drama Alert to talk about an emotional twitlonger Bashur had made the night before. In it, Bashur revealed that the person who started the original rumor all that time ago that claimed he raped a 13-year-old was none other than Jobless Garrett. As the story goes, Sky Does Minecraft had given him the job to do a background check on Bashur for BAM Lounge, during which he found his arrest record. Garrett then called up the county clerk's office to confirm this, which is when they allegedly told him the now infamous rumor. Garrett then told this to the rest of the BAM Lounge members, which is what kicked off this entire saga. And the accusation that we now know probably isn't true about the 13-year-old girl being raped twice by him, it seems to always go back to Jobless Garrett being the one making that claim. Do you know anything behind the scenes of if he actually was told that by the police or if it was made up?
I have talked to him in real life, like at a face party about a year ago, and I confronted him about this, and he to this day still says that is what the police told him. And there's really no way to find out how old this girl is or was. But you know, if he was arrested for it.
That would I think, would that be true? Could you not find out about that? Like you couldn't look up a record of how old the person was? I mean, they would redact the name, but you couldn't look up the name? That doesn't make sense.
I don't think she was like, 16, 17. Yeah. She would have to be like someone young enough for the police to even get involved like that,
Despite Mr. Sif's story about Bashur sending sexually suggestive messages to multiple underage girls, along with him previously being convicted of that same crime a decade prior, we have absolutely no proof that he ever made physical contact with them, so it's unclear why someone would come up with that story. Nevertheless, things quickly spiraled out of control from there, and it eventually led to the now infamous freakout. Clara then told her version of Bashur's removal from the BAM Lounge and her breakup with him, this time very differently than a few months prior. This time around, according to her, the BAM members were the manipulators, pressuring her into returning and trying to convince her that Bashur was a pedophile. She finally agreed and flew back to California with a plane ticket paid for by BAM Lounge member Aviator Gaming. When Clara returned, things started getting much worse. Another BAM Lounge member named Bertgasm, who had a girlfriend at the time, allegedly made repeated unwanted sexual advances towards Clara, frequently trying to console her and touching her inappropriately.
I'm sleeping on a cot in the same room, and this guy gets in my cot and is like cuddling up to me, trying to like hold me and be in my space, and it was really gross and uncomfortable, and I felt like had I allowed it, he would have made moves. He said it was at a party, totally not at a party. Like this dude walked up to our house, first time he's ever been there, just has his balls hanging out when I open the door. Like,
and it was directed at you, or was this a joke, or?
I don't know what it was, but it was completely inappropriate. He had never been to our house before, never been to Washington. I hardly knew him, and he had his balls out in front of me.
So, she accused you of showing your nutsack to her on 2 separate occasions and also trying to get in bed with her. Can you explain why, like, these very specific allegations against you came up?
Yes. So I actually didn't even show her my nuts. It was when I was way back when I was meeting Bashur for the very first time on Skype. I jumped into a Skype group with a bunch of guys, and they were all acting like idiots and stuff. And one guy decided to show his nuts on camera, but he did it like really close up. Like you couldn't even see the nut. You just saw like the skin and maybe like a pube and a pube there.
What the fuck?
And they laughed, and then someone else turned their camera off, and then they showed theirs, and they laughed, and then I showed mine, and all of us did it. Every one of the guys did it. So it was just like, ha ha ha. Okay. So then it moved on to me meeting him for the very first time in Seattle. He is answering the door. We actually texted him, hey, answer the door, just you. He answers the door, it's just him. So I had my balls out trying to make him laugh, and he's actually talking to me for a moment, and then he looks down, and he's just like, oh, you got me. And I was just like, yeah. He's just like, that's from the Skype call, right? And I'm like, yep. Yeah, and then in the bed thing, Bashur's...
Okay, I mean, that's... Dude, what the fuck? I've never done that before. Why is this a thing? Why do people talk, oh, yeah, you showed my ball? Why? What possessed you to do that, sir? What the fuck's wrong with you? What the fuck?
She's already gone home. Clara's come back, and she is now sleeping in the living room as I am. I'm sleeping on a couch, and she's sleeping on another couch. Okay. She started crying, and I was just like, hey, what's up? And I was like, you want to talk about it? And I'm still in my bed at this time. Well, my couch, and she's on her couch as well. And she started crying, and she had like these little crystals, and she kept like kissing them. And I was just like, well, what's up with the crystals? And she was like, if you want to come over here, I'll show you my crystals. So I sat on her bed. She opened up her little bag of like crystals and stuff, and she says that she believes in the energy of crystals and how they can heal you. And she's like, this one does this one does that. And I'm like, that's cool. And she was just like, can you sit down and just talk to me for a little bit? Can you just lay down and let's talk for a little bit? So I lay down beside her and we talked about crystals. That's as far as that story goes.
Clara claimed that both Garrett and Sky Does Minecraft were offering her and Basher $5,000 to keep quiet about their experience. But
I mean, so his account seems more realistic. I'm not going to rule out that he's gross, but what the fuck, dude? You guys show each other balls on Skype?
upon agreeing to take the money, Garrett then changed his mind and instead mocked them for being unable to pay their taxes. In retaliation, Basher began threatening to sue Garrett for telling the BAM Lounge that he raped a 13-year-old girl. Like all lawsuits surrounding the story, however, this does not seem to have gone anywhere. Following this interview, Basher went on another one of his famous Twitter rants, this time about Garrett, how he ruined his life, and how he feared Clara would leave him because of it. The next day, he went on Drama Alert for an interview where he had a similar sentiment, angrily blaming Garrett for everything that had gone wrong in his life.
We have lost over $900,000 worth of deals. And it's absolutely mind-blowing that so many companies are believing this. Part of making this a career is looking forward to your progression, seeing companies excited to work with you and do things with you, and your life becomes a lot better because you're entertaining more people and you're making more money, and that's called career progression.
It's so interesting because like we saw before where he's like, I just wanted to make content to make people happy, and so to try to excuse the bad things he did. And then here we go again with like more of the same, like similar shit. Listen, obviously these are like allegations, so nothing is proven. What I will say is I made a comment at the beginning, and I'm going to hold to that comment. And what he did about when he was 18 talking to a 15-year-old, it was inappropriate, but he didn't even think that it was inappropriate. And that's the problem that I have. Like, he was like, I can't believe I got I got punished. It's one thing to say, like, I feel like I got overly punished, and I understand what I did was wrong, but he doesn't even think it's wrong. And so, while I wouldn't call somebody a predator for being 18 talking to a 15-year-old, I would definitely say that if you haven't learned your lesson and be like, okay, I should stop that, then there's something there.
Well, that stopped the second Garrett did this. It just stopped outright. I haven't had a single offer for this or that in almost a year now. Well, it's absolutely f***ing insane because they believe that I might be a pedophile.
Well, do you think that's what it is, or is it all the weirdly sexualized content that the two of them make?
Basher admitted that the real reason he began leaning so hard on using Clara's body for views was because he was worried his career was ruined beyond repair, and it was just a matter of time until it would be dead. So to put it simply, he was trying to milk as much money out of it as possible before it was over. While he did demand an apology from Garrett, Basher did start walking back his talk of a lawsuit against him. Keemstar, on the other hand, was encouraging Basher to pursue legal action. In fact, he was encouraging him to just take control of his life in general, telling him that if he got back into streaming, people would watch. Basher was hesitant, but after Keem offered him an undisclosed amount of money per week to do it, he quickly accepted.
I really believe people will give you a second chance. In fact, I work out deals for people on stream, and I'll type it right now in the Skype conversation. I will give you this much a week to stream 10 hours on Streamy. You just got to go back to work. Is that acceptable?
Serious?
Yeah. We'll pay you
This
that
is
money.
legit. This isn't Keemstar's gonna get you. Like,
no troll.
This isn't fake.
No troll. You just got to get back to work.
Given their history, it's entirely possible that this interview was staged as well, but it does go to show what a strange journey Keem and Basher's relationship had gone through in just a year. In a matter of months, Basher would go from hating Keem to thanking him to threatening to sue him. In May of 2016, speculations began to stir that Basher and Clara might have been fighting. It all started when Clara posted a picture of her door on Twitter, with what appeared to be multiple sizable holes punched into it. Later that
something must have fell into the door 7 times. Obviously, what other argument could there be?
day, Basher tweeted that his fingers were hurting, many assuming the two
I think I broke my pinky finger. If I missed another tea party because of this, I swear to God.
incidents were related. Concern rose when Clara posted a picture of Basher's computer background, which was a picture of her with words and phrases such as, "You can't have her," and "I will kill you," and "mine" written all over it.
What the fuck?
This was unsettling to say the least, but speculation hit a boiling point when Clara tweeted, "If I die in the next few weeks, you guys know who it is." Many people spoke up to voice their concerns about what was going on, the strangest among them being Onision, who tried to encourage Clara to break up with Basher.
Onision? Oh my... I mean, for all we know, Onision was the one who did this. For all we know, Onision is like the brother of this guy. What the fuck? Like, Onision is a scumbag.
Basher, telling her that this was a toxic relationship. Clara refuted all...
Hey guys, hey. If your boyfriend does this to you, your door, leave him. If you don't, your face could be like this next target. I know from experience. My name's Nonision. That's what I do to people. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I would... That's possible. Never know, bro.
To encourage Clara to break up with Bashur, telling her that this was a toxic relationship. Clara refuted all rumors of domestic abuse, and Bashur Clara...
At the end of the day, it's my relationship, and if I say everything is okay, it's okay. Oh, okay. Well, the holes in the door had nothing to do with my relationship with Clara, and everything to do with false pedo. Okay. Well, listen, everybody has their meltdowns, I suppose, but Jesus Christ.
Verified that he punched the holes in the door because of his continued anger at the pedophile accusations. Still, no matter what the reason he had for doing it, it was clear that Bashur was in a dangerously unstable state of mind that would only get worse. Bashur continued to emotionally deteriorate over the following year. He would lash out at anyone who dared to mention the allegations, most notably berating YouTube commentator Leafy's here for simply making a short joke about it in one of his videos. All of this finally hit a breaking point on April 24th, 2017, when Bashur completely blacked out his entire online presence, deleting all of his tweets and videos and disappearing without a trace. It became too much for him to handle. Mr. Sif credits himself for this, as he had been working on something of a sting operation with the help of Bashur's ex-girlfriend. Bashur had allegedly been flirting with her for a while, and Sif showed Clara their chat logs in an attempt to prove that Bashur was still willing to cheat on her. Whatever reasons Bashur had, this did successfully remove him from the public eye as all parties involved moved on with their lives.
The fuck?
When looking into the lives of all the parties involved in this saga, you'll start to see that not only Bashur saw a downfall after the controversy. The Bam Lounge TV show never materialized, and the channel slowly faded out of relevance despite attempts to bring it back. By now, most of the members involved with the now notorious YouTube collective have left and moved on, with many having their own mental troubles. Skyda's Minecraft, once one of the biggest creators on the entire platform, went on to change his name to Net Nobody and removed all his Minecraft videos and started a music career. He also had a messy breakup with the mother of his son that led to his name being dragged through the mud. Add to this a slew of breakdowns on camera, and it's clear that the past few years haven't been the easiest for him.
I am on social media, I'm trying to be social. It's my emotions. It's like my only personal thing.
Now under the name Sky Does Everything, he still does seem to make semi-frequent Minecraft uploads. Despite his channel having over 11 million subscribers, his videos these days often struggle to reach even 30,000 views. Aviator Gaming...
Hey, listen, that's just the grind, doggy.
is in a somewhat similar position, although to a less extreme level. While he only has around 1 million subscribers, his videos only receive about 10,000 views apiece, and he hasn't posted anything to his main account in about 7 months. He went from 6 million views a month to 300,000 since Bashur's disappearance. Bertgasm changed his channel name to Bert Dude, possibly trying to distance himself from being known as the guy who made a roleplay video about a Minecraft school shooting.
What the fuck? That's edgy. Jesus Christ.
But let's just try to keep it together, okay? I mean, that's honestly all we can do. God, come on, Sarah, into here quick! Oh my God, Jack's here. Jack's back at school. Oh God.
After the fiasco...
What the fuck was that, dude? Wow, that must have been that has to have been a different time. Jesus Christmas. That is that was something.
His views start to go downhill on YouTube, so he stepped away from the platform and got a regular job. These days, Bert lives in Texas with his girlfriend and her kid, and they just had their first child together. In the past 2 months, he's been talking about making a return to YouTube, with him even giving us an exact time frame for when the Minecraft roleplays were coming back.
I don't care at all.
But as the release date came and went, he had to upload another video claiming that he couldn't do the roleplay because he took some flu medicine that made him mentally insane.
I had a mental breakdown, and because of that mental breakdown, I had to go to urgent care twice, and I had to go to the emergency room twice. I also am just grateful that I had friends and family that were there to support me.
I'm assuming you went to the urgent care and then they told you should go to the emergency room?
In the time that...
I just felt the need to contextualize that.
I needed them, even though all I really wanted to do is die.
Just like the rest of them, Jobless Garrett's channel seems to be struggling. Despite sitting on over 1 million subscribers, many of his recent videos barely managed to reach even 10,000 viewers. The only big spike in views for him in the past few months was a video where he talks about his fiancée leaving him. Smile for YouTube had seemingly disappeared from the internet. The last we heard from him, he had turned on both Bashur and Keem shortly after the now infamous interview. He began swatting Keem and his mods frequently, although he later tried to claim that Keem was in fact the one swatting him. As for Bashur, Smile was reportedly trying to extort him out of $10,000, and if he didn't pay up, Smile threatened to murder him by sending a SWAT team to his house. Later, he found Basher's mother's address and sent a SWAT team to her house on 4 occasions.
Jesus Christ.
Shortly after this, it appears he faded out of internet life. Futuristic Hub has had his fair share of trouble since Basher as well. Most notably, he was involved in a lawsuit over his channel called Video Games, which is an entirely separate story for another day. To put it briefly, he was found to be in breach of contract regarding royalties owed to other contributors of the channel. The final fine came out to be a whopping $20 million, making it the largest YouTube-related lawsuit of all time. His own channel, however, is actually doing quite well, managing to pull in over 1 million views per video on a somewhat consistent basis, though a lot of that money might be going to pay that $20 million lawsuit. Mr. Sif quit YouTube around the same time Basher disappeared, stating that he felt completely disillusioned with the site after what he had experienced. He has recently returned, but these days he treats YouTube as more of a side hobby, choosing instead to devote the majority of his time to focus on his family and job. To this day, he remains one of the best documenters of the entire Basher saga.
Yeah, doxing turned to boxing, yeah, basically. People used to dox each other on YouTube. Now they just box each other.
As he kept all of the evidence while most others have deleted theirs from the face of the internet. Clara Babylegs continued her internet career trying to keep up a consistent live streaming schedule on Twitch.
Let's see. I'm just gonna do a thing. I'm just gonna go on here. We're just gonna find this out. Alright. Clara Babylegs OnlyFans. Just curious. I think it's true. I think it's true. Yep, I believe. Huh? What's her at, though? I gotta confirm. I'm pretty sure it's true.
However, in March of 2017, her Twitch account was suspended when she wore a revealing cosplay on stream. After years of joking, this is finally where she took the plunge and joined a camgirl site, fully making the career switch into selling her body for money. When she first became a sex worker, she quickly rose through the ranks and became one of the top streamers on the cam sites, although her popularity seems to have waned over time. It's hard to tell how she's doing these days, as her YouTube channel is a ghost town and her Twitter is locked behind a $500 paywall. Interestingly, during his time away from the internet, people still were able to find Basher in the live chat of her streams, leaving sexual messages and seeming to get off on watching Clara perform for others. This finally brings us to Bashurverse. According to Keemstar, during his time away, Basher seems to have taken a job working at Best Buy to allow himself to leave the public eye. The only somewhat notable thing for him that happened online during his disappearance was when his Minecraft account was hacked and put up for auction in 2018, to which he remained silent. At that point, it seemed like he was gone for good. Finally though, on September 18th, 2019, Basher made his grand return to the internet under the name of Toasty, and got back into streaming video games right away. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like his time away did much to help his finances or mental health, as he seems like a shell of his former self in recent YouTube videos.
I have been in hell, absolute hell. I completely failed to cope with what had happened to me, and I lost everything. I'm losing everything. I'm literally in the midst of losing literally everything. This house that I'm in is about to go bye-bye. I have no idea where I'm going to be moving.
As the months continued to go on with his return to the internet, we also began seeing old habits pop back up when he started making a slew of depressed Twitter rants, at one point confirming that he and Clara had broken up during his hiatus. Strangely, in these tweets, he refers to her as his wife, but we can't find any records that they were actually married. Looking at his Twitter, he often goes from talks of suicide to an optimistic, hopeful outlook of the world in a matter of days. He recently left a message that sounded like a final statement to a cold, uncaring planet. After days of silence, people became worried that he may have actually ended his life, but he eventually came back saying that he checked himself into a mental hospital and was feeling better now. He also was planning to move to Australia with a group of his streamer friends for a fresh start, and that brings us to current day.
Okay. Very cool.
After spending hundreds of hours researching the Bashurverse story, the only thing clear is that Brandon Asher is a troubled man. From his biological mother abandoning him as a child, to the school placing him in with the undesirable students, the judicial system throwing him in the same courtroom as violent hardened criminals, the internet labeling him as a child rapist, and the love of his life Clara breaking things off, his struggles have led to outbursts witnessed by millions on the internet. In the end, we will probably never know for certain what all the facts are in this case. A lot of the evidence has been deleted from the internet, and there is no smoking gun that points to one specific thing being the truth. We'll never know for sure how many underage girls he had been in contact with throughout his adult life, and what exactly he has done with them. Throughout this whole saga, it feels like things were manipulated behind the scenes, but to whose benefit? The only thing that can be said for certain is that everyone involved in this mess has come out in a worse place than they started, be that financially or mentally. All except one, that is.
Listen, Basher, I got you to talk about me and to let your audience know about my existence for months. So many people know about this subject and my point of view of it than ever before. Because I got you to react to me, and I got you to play victim to me, and I got you to pander to your audience. This whole forget him and ignore him would have worked if you would have done it right away. But now that you haven't, I got your fans' attention. Here's the problem, is that you thought you were a fucking genius manipulator. But someone's better than you.
Okay. So, great video. Here's my perspective. First and foremost, Keemstar he's a real worthless piece of shit, honestly. That's the first thing. Second, for multiple reasons. Like, it's from the start, it seemed like he was trying to get down to like the real, like, hey, what really happened? Like, what really happened? Like, okay, I respect that. And then it devolved into ignoring allegations to just platform this guy and just constantly make videos on him because he would make money from it. So we already know Keemstar is a bad guy. As far as this other guy, Basher, he passed away from COVID. Listen, I'm not trying to be callous. I don't know. I tend to believe some of the accusations. They might not be true. It's terrible when someone dies, but I don't feel particularly upset about it. He just seemed like kind of a scumbag. So I'm sorry. I know he just passed away. But I also have very rough opinions about people that I feel credibly that are bad people like that. So sorry for anybody that offended. Yeah.